Tamika, congratulations on an amazing short. Uh, it had a great message and a great cast, and it was filmed quite beautifully. And you are a star in it and a producer. Talk about how this project came to life.
Well, Superman Doesn't Steal is based on a true story. So it's a core, inspired by a core childhood memory between my brother and myself. And it's been something that has been on my mind and heart for many, many years. And I just tried a few times and didn't feel like I had really gotten the story right. And so this time I literally feel like it was whispered to me via my ancestors. It's like when you get a muse, it re rarely happens, at least it rarely happens for me, that it's this clear and this precise. It was literally like I was taking dictation. I was on my stationary bike watching a movie, and then all of a sudden, I started hearing literally I was like, oh my God, you mean now? And so I just grabbed my phone and I started writing what I was hearing in my notes section of my phone. I mean, I was like, wait, what? Oh, that's good. I was like, and then about 95% of what was in my of what I wrote, I just dumped it into a final draft, and 95% of what you see on screen is what I wrote that day. And so it was very much came through me as I feel a channel. And then I sent it to my brother. He's a very, very harsh critic. Straight no chasers, okay? You will be crying if your stuff is not good after you send it to him. And so I sent it to him, and then he called me, and he was the one crying. And he said, I cannot believe how you captured what happened. And he said, you have to do it. And then I was like, wow, oh no, I have to do it.
And you
That's really
did.
how
You,
it
you
happened.
did it very well. I'm sure he was. Was he the first person you showed the film to?
He was, well, he wasn't the first person I showed the film to because he has a little meta moment on the set where he's like the disapproving neighbor, kind of watching himself and being brought home after he did something he shouldn't, right? And I wanted it to be as close to finish as possible. I showed him, he's one of the first people that I showed the almost finished cut, right? But I wanted him to weigh in on a few very specific things, like the corporal punishment and a few other things that I really wanted to get his opinion on. And along the way, I would ask him certain things about casting and stuff like that.
Oh my gosh. Well, speaking of casting, you had a fantastic cast of some well-known people there, like Mustafa and Mr. Mitchell. Talking about settling such a talented crew.
So I pretty much cast it myself because I knew most of the people. There's a local cop who we cast with my friend Kate Preach, who also did the background casting because she lives in Atlanta. But everyone else, for the most part, the two little kids, one was a recommendation through my friend Chad Coleman, who had just worked, he had just worked with the little boy Jackson Ellis Hobbs the fourth in The Angry Black Girl and Her Monster. And he was like, you should reach out and see if that kid, can do it. Look at his reel or whatever. So I immediately sent a note to his people and asked him to put something on tape. He did it right away, and within 5 seconds, I knew he was the kid. He has such incredible moment to moment work to be so young. He's definitely a star. He's going to be a star. And then the little girl was actually the first person that I cast because I saw her on Unprisoned with Kerry Washington. And I saw her and went, that's the little girl. That's me as a little girl. That's her. That's me. I didn't want her to be Harriet. And so, again, I sent something to her agents on IMDb, and I didn't audition her. I just met with her and her family in Atlanta for dinner. And after just interacting with her, I knew she was the right person. And I will say Casey Lemons said something about Eve's Bayou, the first movie she worked with kids who became stars. Megan Good,
Journey.
Smollett,
Yeah.
yes, Journey. And she said she was really clear that she needed to cast excellent child actors for that movie, that she needed to cast kids who were going to be stars and knew what they were doing because that was what was going to save her. So I had just seen a tribute to her at the DGA right before I went to shoot. And I knew, I was like, that's excellent advice. I need to take that advice. And then Mustafa, I've known for a long time. And right after I wrote it, I asked him for a song because he's also a musician, an artist. And I wanted him to use one of his songs, Black Love, at the end of the movie. And he said yes. And I said, and we have a role for you. And he was like, well, I'm in the Netherlands. Do you want to fly me out for it? And I was like, kind of. But I was like, no, no, that makes sense. So when I was thinking I was gonna shoot and fighting from my comfort zone in LA, I thought I was gonna shoot in LA. I was looking the actor that I had cast, he couldn't really, his schedule changed and he couldn't really do it when we were shooting it in Atlanta. So yeah, I couldn't find the Atlanta deep south southern greenery lush look in LA. I just couldn't find it. So man, I'm going all over the place. I'm answering all these different questions. I hope I'm getting it all in there. But anyway, we had to recast the role. So I was hoping his schedule would be available, and it was like a week and a half out. I was like, Mustafa, can you do it? We need to cast the dad. And he was like, actually, my schedule is now free, and I definitely can. So he flew out for it. And right after he said yes, I looked at his Instagram, and he had just posted a new song, Black Superhero. And I was like, wait a minute, what? And I was like, Mustafa, did you write that for the movie? And he said, no, I didn't even make the connection until just now. And I said, that's our end credit song. Can I have? He's like, of course you could have it. It's perfect. So that's a roundabout way. And for E. Roger Mitchell, who's out of Atlanta, I've known him forever. So it was such a pleasure to be able to just call him up and be like, dude, I'm shooting something. Can you be in it? Do you want to play this role? And so he said yes right away. So that's really kind of how it happened. And the other cop I had known, he was in my first two movies. And so we actually flew him out for it, even though my producers were like, you're flying him out for that. That's kind of you should hire that role locally. I was like, I know, but
You're loyal, you know.
yeah,
We love a team that sticks together.
that's true.
If there was ever a sign for you to work with Mustafa being that song, that's definitely a strong one. I mean, that's crazy.
Yes, it's like the perfect song for this movie in every way.
Yes, and then of course, the Superman, he's a topic of discussion. He's always culturally relevant in pop culture, especially with superhero movies and all that stuff. Growing up with your brother being a comic book fan, did you get into it a little bit, or how was that relationship to you in comics?
So he was much more into comics than me. I was into it, but I was more into like the Archie comics and stuff. I was into different
We
types
love
of
Riverdale and Sabrina, yes.
yeah. And but I was into it because he was into it. And of course, he's my big brother. I hero worshipped him. So I kind of wanted to, like what he liked and do it, and we would play all of the, Batman and Robin and all of that. So all of that stuff is true. So yeah, I was into comics, but not as much as he was into comics.
Yes, and then this film is has great messaging, and hopefully people take away that. But what do you hope people take away message wise after they watch the film?
So there's a couple of things. One is just how, based on our choices, we can all be a hero or a villain at any time. And I think that that shifts in the movie for everyone. And it also, their point of view of who's a hero and who's a villain shifts in the movie as well. And then the other thing that I want people to take away from is that Black children, Black people in general, but Black children specifically in this movie cannot make certain mistakes. We don't have the grace, we don't have we just don't have the grace or the space to make
We don't
certain
have the
mistakes.
privilege.
We don't have privilege is even a better word, right? Because it can cost us our life when we make certain mistakes. So, yeah, I think that is sort of made really clear in this film because kids will be kids. They're gonna do stupid stuff. They're gonna do stuff that's, I mean, for the most part, relatively harmless, and but that it shouldn't cost them their life. You can have a conversation, you can do what you need to do. I mean, it was the 70s, so they did something a little different.
Right, and it
But
could have easily gone left, especially during that time, how easy
yeah,
the things have gone real bad. So I think it's super important people watch film, especially with today's everything that's happening in the world today. I think it's even more relevant than ever. So congratulations on an amazing production, and I hope a
thank you.
lot of people see this film.
Thank you so much. I hope so as well.
Thank you.
They're Oscar qualified, so we're up on that Academy
Let's
screening.
go. Come
So
on,
fingers crossed.
we're going
Let's
for the
go.
gold. Let's go.